I found my girlfriend of 8 years cheating sex tape. Her family, close friends, and cybercrime police are involved. I'm numb. Almost 3 weeks ago, a good friend of mine, Alex, and an acquaintance, Mike, got hold of a video of my girlfriend, Jamie, another man. Mike found this browsing through porn sites with niche themes and by chance recognized Jamie. Got into contact with Alex about it, where both of them told me about the infidelity. When Mike told me of the infidelity, I went somewhere between shock and numb. I couldn't really say anything until I saw the video, where I proceeded to puke my guts out. I couldn't even sit through a minute of it. The fact that it was edited to go straight into the action with Jamie's face clearly visible didn't help. We drove Mike home, and Alex had good sense to force me to spend the night at his place rather than go home, where I share an apartment with Jamie with no idea how that would end. We shared some beers, mostly in silence. Alex did try to make me open up on what I felt about Jamie's infidelity, but I was just numb. I didn't know what I felt and told him so. I felt like wading through water with no thought in mind other than what was in front of me. Alex didn't force any more, and I passed out some time later. When I woke up, I recovered enough sense to realize that our relationship was most likely over. I go straight home through public transport, most likely brooding or looking pissed. I wonder what the other passengers thought when they saw me looking like shit while trying to emulate Batman. I get home and catch her getting ready to go out, asked me where I was, and why I didn't contact her. I don't bother answering and just told her we needed to talk. We sit down facing each other on our kitchen table that we built from scratch in my grandfather's farm, and that random thought pretty much broke the dam. A lot of stuff happened, a lot of harsh words was said, accusations, and blame. Too many details to describe, but essentially, I immediately broke down in tears and asked her how the F she could ruin this relationship we worked so hard on. She's confused and wanted an explanation. I drop the bomb and show the video. She cries, begs for forgiveness, but I hear nothing. More crying and cursing until I tell her that we're over. That was it, and she just shuts off. She slumped down and closed her eyes, still crying, but says nothing. This gets me out of anger, and I try to figure out what she's doing. Talking to her, hard, gentle prodding, nothing. Absolutely unresponsive, so I just drag her to our bed and lay her there. I go back to our kitchen and call her parents, Alice and Julio. I simply told them they needed to come and that their daughter is suffering a mental breakdown. I say nothing more than just telling them that they needed to see us and that what was happening needed to be face-to-face to explain. I shut my phone off, go back to kitchen, and think about what the hell just happened. Her parents rush to our apartment demanding what the F happened. I don't tell them about Jamie's infidelity, but just say she needed mental help. She's on the bed acting comatose, but otherwise, okay. They couldn't bring her out of it, and eventually I had to explain. I didn't want to do it without Jamie being able to explain herself. I showed them the video, and they're heartbroken. Told them we had an argument. I didn't hurt her, but she probably couldn't handle the stress and broke down. They decide to bring Jamie to her university's mental health clinic. I decide not to go with them. The next day, Jamie eventually wakes up. She's stable and responsive. There, she says that the video was not consented. Her family decide to report this to cybercrime police. Jamie's family don't grill her with her mental state being the way it is, but her parents are obviously ashamed and aren't sure what to do other than what the psychologist recommends, which is to let Jamie rest for a while and support her until they're sure she doesn't implode, then was sent home to her parents. This was all relayed to me by her older sister, Jackie, who's trying to be the mediator. She asked me if I really was going to end the relationship. I respond that I'm not sure if we can even salvage it. 2 days later, Jamie's parents ask me to visit them for a talk. I agree and go the next day. Jamie's parents and her older sister are present. We go to their living room and sit down. They looked sad and tired, and I felt the same. Jamie will be the last topic of our talk. First is me. They wanted my parents to be involved. I feel disrespected as we're already adults. Me and my father are tense, but I relent as I'm already tired and a bit out of my depth. Marriage was in discussion in the past after all. Finally, we talk about Jamie. She's stuck in a room, miserable and ashamed, otherwise, okay. She'll stay with her parents for now. When she's needed by the police, she can stay with Jackie in a hotel. They understand that I needed space. They've submitted a report to our cities. They live 1 or 2 hours away in the suburbs, cybercrime office. I'm needed for the investigation. I explained that I wasn't the one who found the video, but I'll try to get Mike involved. They apologize for Janie, but I tell them she's the one who needed to apologize, and that they shouldn't baby her. They agree but beg me not to argue right now since Jamie may relapse. They explain her psychologist assessment. Spontaneous nervous breakdown, no history of mental illness, concluded to be caused by accumulated stress from her studies and acute stress reaction from our argument. She needs rest in a safe environment. Psych almost called the police on me, but they convinced them not to, and with no physical trauma observed, gave up. The discussion devolved to apologizing, tears from Alice especially, and other noise. But they did want to take charge of everything. The investigation, Jamie's well-being, her education and finances, etc. I was kinda washed off of everything. 8 days later, Alice calls me in the middle of the night begging me to see Janie. Depressive episode, kitchen knife, locked in the bathroom yelling for me. Worst hour of my life. I'm pretty sure I almost died twice on the road and glad that my country isn't developed enough for highway cameras. I meet Alice and Jackie outside the house waiting for me. Janie has mostly calmed and Julio's with her in her room. They beg me to go see her, and with how bad the situation looked, I rushed to Janie. She's a FING wreck, looked like her blood has been drained and hasn't slept for a while. She starts crying the moment she sees me and reaches out her arms. Whatever anger, exhaustion, and anxiety melted away, and I embrace her. She kept apologizing and begging for me to stay. I shush her and hold her tight. She eventually goes to sleep, and I take a moment to think about what's happening. I genuinely felt heartbroken seeing her like this. This is not how I thought we'll be together in the future, much less this Christmas. I am losing my best friend and would have been partner for life. This was the person who helped me through my depression when even my own family dismissed it. She's even the one who made me make journals to help process what I go through. It's actually ironic how she's the reason how good I can write down details on her affair, and how bad it affected me. Here are a few comments.
The unfortunate part is that she isn't your responsibility. I'm extremely jaded about this from multiple people threatening to control me in the past, but that's an extremely common tactic. What I would do in your situation would be to talk to her parents, say that you can't be responsible for caring for their daughter and maintaining her health as she struggles with the consequences of her actions. If they want her safe, they should commit her and leave. This will never be normal. This will hang over any relationship you have with her in the future. Not just the cheating, but this whole spiral. The stress of having to coddle and reassure the person who cheated on you is hard to break. It's confusing and emotionally draining, and truthfully, you are the victim here too. I understand she didn't give consent to be taped, but that is a situation that is completely removed from you. Just as she is a victim from the guy she slept with, you are a victim of her infidelity. My honest advice would be to just remove yourself, deny being contacted again, and end it fully. You have to start living your life.
I agree. I had a guy threatening us once. All BC, I got stood up by him, and I didn't want to go pick up his stone to 3 hours after the arranged time. He couldn't wake up. I thought he was serious, so I called for a welfare check on him. He was hopping mad, and it escalated to him making death threats by text and wishing I got gang raed and my throat slit. I was so afraid of him that I went to make a police report. This is what the policeman told me: people who threaten suicide are trying to manipulate you. Don't be sucked in or try to sympathize. Stay far, far away from them. I think OP needs some distance from the situation so he can find some clarity. The GF sounds mentally unwell and she needs professional help to deal with it. Don't let her family guilt him into staying or looking after her, because it is not his responsibility and it will only confuse things and delay the inevitable. He needs to do what is right for him, and she needs to do what is right for her right now. Seek professional help.
It seems really unfair the way her family keeps asking you to intervene and to be there for her. Obviously their priority is their daughter, but what about you and all the emotions you are going through right now? I feel like you need to cut contact for the time being and take some space for yourself. She is not your responsibility, she is a grown woman having to face the consequences of her actions. Like someone else mentioned, if you hadn't confronted her about this, she would have been happy to keep the cheating under wraps and continue with life as if nothing had happened.
Yeah, I really need that space. Probably years too. To be fair, Alice Julio wanted me washed off of everything. Prior to the knife incident, they kept silent about Jamie. They understand I need space, and are actually surprised I haven't said anything about leaving. They're just as disappointed, and Alice wants to tear her apart but obviously waiting until she's stable. They've already accepted me as a son, and was just waiting for the marriage, and all of us can't FING move on.
Take your shit and walk away. She's not your concern. She F'd up and needs to deal with her consequences.
And this is it for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you soon.